Okay, I think I got that working. Sorry for the technical difficulties. It wouldn't allow me to edit the scheduled live. So I just want to see. Just give me a moment. Hello, Lisa. I'm just going to see. Just going to set some settings. I'd previously done it in the other one, but I just had to redo this one. So, hi Kirsten, how are you? Won't be one moment, I'm just setting some settings so that I hopefully won't get too many spammers. So I've restricted it to people. Perfect. Hi Kat. So tonight I wanted to talk about archetypes and how they play out in your lives, and then we'll do some readings towards the end. So in the comments, I would just like to get an idea of how aware my group of people are. Like, are you familiar with archetypes? Are they something that you use and reference in your life now, or are they a new concept for you? And if you do know about archetypes, do you know which ones are playing out in your life and which ones that you use a lot of? So last week we talked about the martyr. No, sorry, it was the narcissist and the empath. And we went in and I'll just give a refresher of what exactly is a an archetype for those that are not aware. So an archetype is it's like a program, or it's in our global unconscious, and it's something which we no matter what country you're in will understand. So if you ask someone in Spain what are the characteristics of a thief, they'll be able to say the same things as someone from America, someone from Australia. What are the characteristics of a mother? What are the characteristics of a pirate? We all instinctively know what they are. And when we're going about in our life, you can just look at somebody and you'll get a reading. You'll just get an impression. You'll go, fantastic mother, or that's a teacher, or you might get a reading, oh, stay away from them. So you'll know that they've got, maybe they're a narcissist or they're a liar. You'll get like there's something not quite right. So everybody is reading everyone's archetypes at any given moment. The thing is once you understand archetypes, it's a whole new type of language, and it's a way that you can really give yourself freedom and take power back in your life. Because if you know what archetypes you've got playing in your life, and then also what archetypes other people have going on in their lives, it gives you that moment where you can go, well, no, I choose to be like this, and I'm using these archetypes. Or you can look at the person and go, well, they're in their bully, or they're in their child, or they're in their victim. And you go, well, I'm just not going to play with that story. I'm not going to get involved in. More importantly, I'm not going to get offended. So I'm just going to check to see if I've had anything. Hi, Edward. Good morning from Canada. Kirsten's, very exciting. And Mary's asking for a reading. So I haven't seen anyone talk about archetypes, so I'm going to really go to the basics of it for everybody. So if you, quite often when something happens to you, you get triggered. Within it, you have a way that you normally react, and it's discovering those personality traits. So if you start to think to yourself, okay, what archetypes do I have? There's a few ways that I start people off with, just gently asking themselves. So if you ask yourself, what are the things that people compliment me on? Like, do people say over and over throughout your life, you're really good at talking to people, or you're very compassionate, or you're a great teacher, you're very healing, you're a nurturer. Um, do they criticize in any specific point? Do they say, um, you can be a bit nasty in specific areas, or are you a bully? Do you bully people? Uh, you can look at the darker ones. Not every archetype is, you know, nice and fluffy. So you look where people compliment you, and you look at things that are easy. Quite often people miss main archetypes because it's just something that they do every day. An example is um, I have the mediator. So I can break up arguments like really easy. I was doing it all through my teen years. Didn't make me incredibly popular, but it was something that I could do. Communication was really easy for me. So um, I also have the knight archetype. So I can't stand injustice. Even as a kid, I would fight for the underdog. If there was some kids bullying another one on the bus, I would say something. Um, so that's so you start looking at the things that you've done all your life, the things that are instinctive, and then you also look at, like, if you have a reoccurring pattern or a reoccurring theme in your life where somebody constantly offends you over and over in a very similar way, and then it's happening all over your life, well, you have one archetype which is basically is the one that's getting activated by being triggered by people. Um, so that's why I find you look at the positives where things are easy for you, and you know then you look at, well, where am I also being triggered, and it can bring out like the ones that you don't particularly know or aware of. So that's the two places that I really get people um, to start with. And if you really trust some friends, you could just ask them and say, what do you think are some of my core personality traits? And see what they say. And if a couple of them, and don't tell them all the same thing, you can ask, like, don't let them all know that you're asking. And, if they all say similar things, well, then that's going to be tied into one of your archetypes. So I hope that's making sense. Good evening, Florin. Hello from Melbourne, Claire. Lisa, tech issues I did have to begin with, so I'm hoping that everything's okay at the moment. Let me know if you are having any problems at your ends, but it's all looking fine on my side of the stuff. So I've talked about um, your some easy ways that you can discover what your archetypes are, and then the other thing is to remember that so Lisa's having problems. Is there anybody else that's having any problems? Just wanted to let me know in the comments. Sometimes if you look on your phone, it can be easier, or sometimes it's not. Hi, Carmel. She's from the Northern Rivers. So I'm just hoping everything's going okay. So the other thing I want you to remember is you have archetypes that all activate together in a group. So say you have somebody offends you, and you're getting triggered, and you might go into judge, and you get into judge, and then you might get your martyr will get triggered, and you'll start to give too much away, and then that triggers your victim, and you start to feel, oh. So like if you get to understand all of these archetypes, then you really can take control in that moment when you've been knocked off center by something. So if if you're being triggered by something that's happened to you externally, or you're watching it on the news, or any of those different things, so you it's happening to you, and you can go, I know what this is. This is my knight. This is my healer. This is my empath. This is my victim. Um, I find that once you can just pause in that moment and have that breath where you're like, oh, okay, so I understand what's going on. And then your head can start to speak to your heart, and you're not like all in chaos. It allows you to take control. And that's what archetypes really are for me, is they are giving you your power back. Or no, they're giving you the opportunity so that you don't give your power away. I think that's a more powerful way of saying it, because once we get triggered and we get angry and we go into rage, or we go into disappointment, or we pout like we're all offended, any of those things, we've literally gave our power away to the situation or the other person, because um, you're not in your center, you're not in your sovereign, you're not balanced, you're now energetically all over the place. So that's, to me, is archetypes are that moment where they can really help you understand what's at play. And you can really start to read and understand your family members, your friends, what's going on with them. But it's done in a way where you don't manipulate them, you just understand what's at play, and then you don't get as offended. So it's, in my mind, truly powerful. So I thought I'd also bring up a lovely, amazing lady called Caroline Mice. So she started me really exploring on archetypes many years ago, and I also learned from Roberto Hotto, and uh, oh, what's the lady that wrote the book She Dances with Wolves? She writes archetypes, but in a parable form through storytelling. Um, and of course, Carl Jung. So they they've all been my teachers, and then they'll be using this deck of cards soon, and that is Kim Kranz, and she's also been really helpful for making me look at um, archetypes themselves, but also instances which are not necessarily an archetype, but they're something that all is in our collective unconscious. So, like, she has a card called the box. Now, the box is not going to be an archetype in itself, but it's the energy of it in the collective. How many times have you heard think outside the box, or you're trying to put me into a box and I need to break free, and those kinds of things. So she's really made me start to think of different ways of wording archetypes as well. So back to Caroline, she is um, she's one of my heroes in this lifetime, and she really talks about 4 survival archetypes, and they are the child, the victim, the prostitute, and the saboteur. Now, each of these archetypes, there's another guy called Jim Curtin, and he proposed that they were higher archetypes that these ones could evolve into when you're being tested. So the child, you can call in the sovereign, because it's a higher vibrational and higher archetype. The child, you can call in the warrior. You can call, I'm not going to be, you know, I'm not going to pout. I'm not going to feel rejected. I'm not going to feel wounded. I'm going to no, hang on. Did I say that right? The child is the sovereign, and the victim is the warrior. Sorry, I don't know if I said that correctly the first time. So you know your victim is going to want to feel like a victim. You wanna feel like life has done you really wrong, and the only way for a victim to get out of being victimized is to activate the warrior. I mean, the biggest example is people of domestic abuse and violence and bad relationships and abusive relationships. No matter how many times somebody helps them and lets them know that there's all these services there, it's not until this part in them just activates and they've had enough, and out comes the warrior, which gives them enough courage to leave. And I've helped quite a few people, and I've got some really good friends that have been in that situation, and I've asked them, what was the defining moment? And some of them have just, there is none. They just get to that day where they just cannot stand it anymore. And they get this courage from somewhere, even though they've tried to leave many times before, and it's just the warrior is activated. So that's the posing, like above the victim. So above the saboteur is the alchemist or the magician. So when you're in your sabotage patterns, your negative thoughts, your martyr, all these things that are stopping you from moving forward, well, the only way to get out of that is to alchemize it, is to create rituals, healing, thought forms, reprogramming your brain, healing your ancestral line, any of those things, which help you to change. And a lot of it is mindset. So you get into a sabotaging pattern, thought patterns, habits, beliefs, and you have to repetitively change the mindset. And there's many different ways. The archetype of the alchemist is my favorite. That's why I call my business Inner Alchemist, because I truly believe that it's one of the big linchpins to change. And then the prostitute, it's not about sex. It's about when you prostitute your soul. It's when you do something that is wrong, and you just continue to do it. It's when you stay in a business or a workplace when you know they're morally corrupt and you do it for money. And yes, you can say to yourself, okay, well, I need to survive. But if you stay and not get a different job, you start to cringe inside, and like a little part of you, I've been in situations like that, and I say it's like part of my soul dies. So it's also when you're with friends and you're with acquaintances in different situations, and you know that they're talking about somebody that's wrong, or they're doing something, and you don't get out of the situation, you stay. And maybe you do it because you don't want to speak out, or you don't want to be unpopular, or any of those different things. So that is a form of prostituting yourself. So the lover is the higher archetype, and the it's saying to the world and to yourself, I love myself enough to change. And people are dismissive of that, but it is one of the most powerful forces on the planet, is to love yourself enough to change. So if you find yourself in any of those, child, and child is when you're having a pout, it hasn't gone your way, and you want to just hide or run or be mean, or you act childish. And so that's when you step into your queen or king or your sovereign. So we go child, sovereign, victim, warrior, saboteur, alchemist, prostitute, lover. So I really wanted to bring those ones into your attention because I will be referencing them a lot over the next few months, and I just think they're powerful to think about and to percolate on. So I think it's some time for some readings. Thanks for the people who have powered through the theory aspect, but I like to each week have a little bit of a discussion and we go from there. So reading wise, if some people would like to comment now and with a question, like is it a general question or is it in your work life, home life, friends, family, future? I'll just have a little bit of a wait for some questions. I'll just have a sip, won't be a second. Okay, we've got Vanessa Arlene saying hi. So it hasn't updated for me. Have I got slow on my settings? Hang on a second. Commenters, no, I haven't got the slow on. Maybe I do have a tech issue that I wasn't aware of. Let me try just bringing my phone up and seeing if everything's okay. I don't know what it's going to be like having two of them on. Claire Phillips, work life, please. So I've done it again last week. I didn't introduce myself to start off with, and I laughed at myself when I hung up. And I've done it again this week. And so my name is Jess Beard or Jessica Beard, and I really I used to do things word of mouth, and I used to call them archetypal counselling sessions, but now I've moved into coaching and more reading based stuff and one-on-one, like people will come to me with interesting issues. Oh, I've got some more here. I've got Vanessa, Arlene, work, Samantha, Natia, one on love. Florin, she wants a lover card on love. I love that. Okay, so I'm just going to briefly bring up the page so I can see it from my phone because my comments are not refreshing as quickly as they should be. But no one else is saying anything too bad. So I've got Helen Macaulay and Kat Gray. Helen and Kat, what kind of reading in what area? Kirsten Dooley, Kat, Helen, Kirsten. Okay, so I was just telling you about myself. So I've recently, I called it my COVID crossroads. Sorry, I'm not being rude, but I'm just trying to find myself down here. How do I mute it? Yeah, that's not going to work. We're going to turn that off. That's not going to work because I'll hear myself twice. I'll have to work out for next week what's going on. So, yes, my COVID crossroads. So I've decided I'm not going to do things just word of mouth anymore. I I'm going to get out of my comfort zone and start doing things online and making myself available to a wider audience. So last week was my first time. I just dropped the cards. Last week was my first time, and I had some really lovely comments from people, and then at the end of it, I realised I didn't say who I am, what I do, or anything else like that. So I was quite amused. Okay, so I'm going to start with Claire Phillips. She wants a card for her work life. What have we got? Little Miss Claire. We have got the mask. So the mask is in reference to the mask that people wear and also the masks that you wear. So I have a feeling like there's some people in your work life who you just don't 100% trust, like they're wearing a mask. And I suggest you honor that feeling because they're not telling you the whole truth. There's things that are going on there. I also feel like it's important that you wear your own mask. And by that, I mean, don't give too much of yourself away. Be selective with who you trust to be your whole self and to be really honest with, because I just don't feel like everybody is in their integrity in your workplace. I might draw another card, just hold on. The underworld. So can you just let me know, Claire, if it's a little bit of a tough workplace? Like, is there stuff going on where it's either being bullied, or if you feel like it's a little bit murky? The underworld is when you have to journey in, and it's not the easiest of cards or archetypes. It's when there is stuff to be discovered and you don't particularly want to look at it. So is there people talking about you or lying about you? I just feel like whoever's got the mask is also not particularly got your best interests at heart. So I would just be really protective of yourself. Stop giving away too much of yourself. Too many. I know I very rarely say this, but don't be too honest. Learn what not to say. So you can still interact with people without lying. You just are being a bit more conservative with your words. Work cover worker. So do you feel like you have a really nice positive workplace, or do you feel like there is a few people that might be wearing a mask around you and not telling you wholly the truth? I just think that that's it's not the most pleasant reading. Third one. Hold on, I'll get you another card. I wish I could, give readings which were 100% light and love all the time. The storm. So that's like sudden change and elemental. It's like a brewing up of energy. I just don't know what's going on at your work at the moment. I would be really careful. I would wear your own polite mask, contain your energy, and if there's something that you want to manifest, then just hold it really close. Don't be sharing it with other people. So Yeah, I wish I could have gave you like the world's greatest, you know, there's going to be a promotion and a chest of gold at the end of the rainbow, but I think that you really need to protect yourself in your workplace, and um, especially, I'd say over the next month or two, really ironically, hold your cards close to your chest. Wear your polite mask. Don't don't be giving too much away of yourself. I feel like you're a giving person and you want to be open, that your workplace is not the place to do it. And just really observe people. Everything I just talked about before with the other archetypes, observe everyone else's archetypes, see what they're up to, and what are they up to. Mm. Oh, work cover worker. Hugs, babe. I've been on work cover. People sucked for me too. Oh, so people at work might not be believing that you should be on work cover or something like that. Are people being nice to you and saying, "Oh, babe, um, that's terrible," and then they're bitching about you. So yeah, I would watch yourself. Really hold yourself. Um, okay, so Vanessa Arlene, she wants one for work as well. Let's see what we have got. Vanessa. I can never say this one's correctly. Um, Alethea. So this is all about telling your truth and justice and being um, being in your power and your sovereignty and your queen. But it's also like the black and the white. It's really knowing to judge the truth in any matter. So um, you need to really trust yourself and um, the word truth. So getting to the truth of the matter. Um, are you are you currently looking for work, or do you work in a field where it's the pursuit of truth is important? I'm going to pull another card for you as well. I have plenty of time this week. The shapeshifter. Pursuit of truth and the being ability to change and morph into what is being needed. So, hi Nerese. So I am talking for Vanessa Arlene. So I'm Vanessa. I'm just going to pull another final card. So the first card was all about truth. Truth is really important to you. It is black and white, but knowing when to say stuff to people. It's about justice. The shapeshifter is about being able to transform to suit any situation. It can be, you have to be highly adaptable. The shapeshifter can sometimes be in shadow, but I feel like it's a positive in this situation. So it's you needing to be more adaptable and like putting on different uniforms. The sustainer is being able to sustain the pursuit of both of those. I almost feel like it's in the legal field, whether or not it's a lawyer, a solicitor, it is a policeman or a policewoman, or something where those three aspects are really important. I really wish I really wish you were able to tell me whether or not you are looking to change careers, if you're unhappy in the one that you've got, or you're looking for something now. Because with that kind of lineup, it really feels like anything that's involved in the legal field, whether or not it's researchers for legal cases, um, anything where the truth is really important. Maybe you can become a famous PI. So let me know with that one, because you need the truth, you need to be adaptable, and you need to be able to sustain yourself. So you need to be able to have the stamina to last the distance when things get tough. I hope that helps. And we'll go on to the next one. The next one is Samantha Mattia, and she wants one on love. Is archetype that Samantha needs. Oh, what a beautiful card. So agape is being really open. So if you have been um, if you've been hurt by love in the past, this card's asking you to really open your heart up to loving again, looking for it in different places than where you normally would. So, um, if you, I get like the last few partners that you've had, or the last places where you've been looking for it, I think you should look somewhere else. I know that sounds a bit odd, but um, if you're wanting a different type of relationship, you need to look for it in a different place. I hope that means something to you. If you're looking for certain characteristics in a man, or if you've been in not so good relationships in the past, and you're wanting, more positive and more loving, I feel like better communication, those kinds of aspects, then um, look in places that you've never looked before. That's what they're saying. That's what I'm getting. Um, and agape, this card asks for courage. It asks for you to, um, open yourself wide open. The spiritual part of me, myself, not spirit, is always trying to say, be careful, because I don't want to ever give, my integrity is never to give information which could be detrimental, and to just say be wide open is a little bit scary, but I really just that's what it is. They're just saying look in places that you've never looked before if you want a different type of person, a different type of partner. And um, and if you have closed parts of yourself off, then this is really asking you to do the work and open them up. So the cautious part of me is saying be careful, but spirit, I think, telling you to, if you've closed off parts of yourself because of past hurts, and you may have thought that you have worked on it, I think you really need to sit down and consciously open up and go, okay, well, this is the type of person I want to call into my life. And yeah, you need to just make really super clear what you want, and look elsewhere where you haven't looked before. Quite an odd reading. So Vanessa, you're currently working as an environmental field officer. So are you passionate about looking after the environment and pursuing the justice of it, or are you a little bit not so interested in that anymore? You just let me know, because I was really curious about your reading. Very, very curious, because I truth and justice. Really important. Need the stamina. Vanessa, that's really interesting. Do you feel like that's in your work life, or do you think that's more in your spiritual life? Like you're being on that threshold of things are about to come forth. That might not be in your work life. It might be another aspect, or are you certain it's in your work? So we'll pop on to Lauren. She's next. She's asked for a card in love. What archetype does she need to hear about love? The healer. Dun-dun. Okay. I think that you heal effortlessly. I think that you're quite empathetic and really beautiful, lovely soul. But I think that this specific card and the message is you don't have to heal in your relationship, and that it's really important that you don't step into that role, because in your relationship you're supposed to be a partner, not a healer. So whether or not it's your current relationship or one that you're hoping to find, I really feel like you've tried to be the healer because it's quite effortless for you. I don't know whether or not you've attracted narcissistic or people like narcissists to you, or people who have issues. A lot of healers do that because they effortlessly heal. It's who they are. But I keep reminding, so many people of this, and especially some of my friends, that if you want a healthy partnership, you can't do all the work. It has to actually be a partnership. So I think that you really need to do a little bit of boundary work. You need to hang on a second. How do they want me to say that? For a woman to feel and be their most powerful, they need to feel safe. They need to feel emotionally safe, physically safe, financially safe, and safe enough that they can be who they are, and they're not going to get judged by it. And I really feel like that's what you're wanting, and that's the kind of relationship that you want, is where you feel safe to be loved for who you are. I think this card's really important. Your instincts are going to be to want to heal, but you can't. You're going, when it comes to a relationship, you have to be more of a partnership, and just turn that healer off in your relationships a little bit, if that makes sense. You can still love, you can still be compassionate, you can be all those different things, you can still be empathetic, you can still have all of that, but it's not the driving force. It's not your job to heal the other person. That's not a partnership. You end up being their mother. I hope that helps. You really need to work on that one. So you're single. So when you're the next person that you find, Lauren, don't try and heal them. Don't try and help them too much, and also be selective. Don't just pick the first person that feels right. Really ask yourself, is this my person? Is this going to be my human? Are they going to be my equal? Are they going to be are they going to honor every part of me, my spiritual self, my emotional self? I really think you need that safety and all, like, to feel really safe with them. So I would be selective. Put yourself out there, and and call them in. You know, my friend, she asked, she got to the point, she said to the university, because I want a really nice guy. And she ran into someone within the week, and his name was Guy. And now they've had a few issues, but I just thought it was wonderful and hysterical. And the universe has the best sense of humour, and he's a really nice guy. So, Cat Grey. I didn't have to give back to Mother Earth. Oh, Vanessa, I really feel like you're doing that anyway. Anybody who in any given moment chooses to be in a high vibration, by that I mean they don't fall into fear, they don't fall into rage, they don't, go and bitch about everybody. Like they, bit by bit, day by day, work on themselves. You're doing so much for the planet that's not funny. And if you really feel called to helping Mother Earth and you've got the background that you do, is there something with legislation, something in the legal system which you know how to help people with? But you are helping Mother Earth. You most definitely are. Oh, Lauren, you're most welcome. And I do feel like you'll have a relationship soon, but you need to. I feel like you've done a lot of work on yourself and you've got to the point where you need to consciously decide more about the relationship. Like beforehand, it was more like, I'm going to stumble along and find somebody or other. But now, with everything that you've learned and all the stuff that you've done, I feel like you can call them in. You can ask for it and be specific and really know the type of person that wants to be your partner, because you're far more mature and you're far more spiritually grown than you were before. So you've been through a lot. I think that's the next step. Do you know what? Narcissists help people discover boundaries. And once you know a narcissist and you're able to get out from underneath their thumb, you'll never go back to it because you couldn't stand it. So he's the world's biggest pain, but he's also your world's biggest teacher. So thank you, Guy, but no, we're not going to have another one of those. So I think that you've had this experience just to make you all the more stronger. And look at how many people you can talk to and help by your experiences. But a narcissist teaches you boundaries, and you're never ever going to do that again, are you? All right. So, Cat Grey wanted a general reading. What archetype does Cat need? Ooh, the threshold. We were just talking about threshold. So threshold is standing on that cliff and ready to dive off. A lot of people get this card when they are about to go in deep initiation. So whether or not it's in your work life or it's in your home life or your spiritual life, you are about to go through some kind of a transformation. I'll draw you a second card just to see if I can get a little bit further clarity. How am I doing for time? We are getting there. We're allowed to go another 8 minutes. Do another one quickly. The storm. So it's definitely initiation, and it's got that impending energy, like something's building. You might have felt it coming. The storm can be like lightning. It can be like a sudden insight. Oh, I know what's going on. It can be a tumultuous time. you know, everything's drenched. You know, but it's also, both cards are they're interesting energy in the fact that they bring up so much change, but at the same time, they're really, really positive, because the threshold, like I'm on the threshold of change, and the storm is like this change is happening. So I feel like something's coming into your life, and you're gonna go, oh my god, and it's gonna seem chaotic and crazy, but at the same time, it's going to work out fine. So you might feel a little bit buffeted by the storm of it all, and the sudden, I don't know if I really want to be on this cliff and dive off, but it'll work out, and it'll be so much better in the long run. Um, it'll be really good. So it's new spiritual life, feeling on the threshold. If you're feeling called to learn something, new modality, or a new meditation practice, to do yoga, to do anything, if you really like, I'd go and before you go to bed tonight, say a prayer, say to the universe, you know, I'm ready. And can you guide me to what I need to do next, and give me some signs, and ask for 3 signs, so that you've really got that confirmation, and you'll know. Those cards, they'll tell you, they'll know, so you'll have a better idea. So I'm coming to the end. I've got time for one more. For this month, I'm offering readings for $25. So it goes for a full hour, and it's a 9-card spread. I do the spread slightly different to what I think other people do, but it's just something that I've felt guided to do. So I start off with, I fall on the 3 pillars, and I start off with what archetypes are in play at the moment, and then what archetypes need to be released or are holding you back, and then what archetypes are coming up that you need to work on, the energy that you're moving into. So if you'd like to book in, I did them massively discounted at 25, because I'm really excited to start here at Spiritual Events Directory. So it lets me settle in and get to know everybody, and to give back as well. And the link is in the description of this live. And when you book in, if you decide to book in, I shouldn't be so abrupt. If you decide to book in, just write in the box your question. I really like a question, so that I can prepare for the reading first. So we had Kirsten Dooley, a general. All right, Kirsten. Let's see. Threshold. I'll do another card, because we just talked about threshold. So, oh, Kat, I just Kat, I just had the biggest storm here. I felt guided. I never get readings from other people, and I did the live that's after me with Juliana last week. Her energy is just so divine. So I decided I'd book in for a reading. It's only like the 3rd professional reading I've ever had, and she was just an angel. She was really lovely. So I found it really funny, because last week I was talking about everyone who should nurture themselves and look at, you know, if they feel guided, and I was listening to her, and I'm like, you should get a reading from this lady. And I know I get this feeling in my guts and heart. It's like a weighted feeling, and I know that it's really important. And and it was just lovely. And yes, storm. And anyway, so when I was having the reading with her, this big giant storm came through, and the rain was going everywhere. And I have a really lovely connection with storms as well. So, Kirsten Dooley. What else have we got going on for Kirsten Dooley? Ooh, the Nectar. I'm going to quickly keep dropping the cards. They're round. They're very hard to hang on to. Got a couple more minutes. I'm going to squeeze this one quickly. Hopefully I don't talk too quickly. Ring. Okay. Threshold is you're on the cliff edge. You're about to take a leap of faith. So we talked about that one before. So I feel it's the exact same energy. Is it in regards to cat? Kirsten was general. So threshold. Do you think that's in your spiritual life or not? We've got nectar. Nectar is asking you to really nurture yourself. So as this is getting a bit tumultuous and you are taking that leap off the cliff and there's this sudden change, they are asking you to nurture yourself. So I want you to write down 3 things that, you nourish your soul, whether it's having a bath or going and having a coffee with friends, or if it's a walk and smelling flowers. Write them down, because when the sudden change happens, I want you to remember that you need to nurture yourself. It'll help you shift through the vibrations a lot easier if you just drink of spirit, drink that nectar down, feel that calmness. I'm feeling nature's important. Maybe go to the ocean, a lake, stare at water, walk in a pond, paddle your feet. The ring is circular. So it's patternings that come back. It's like the aurora borealis. It's cutting of the ties as well. In your instance, I feel like you've been repeating a pattern, and it's time for you to change it. So that's what the sudden change is for, and also why you need to nurture yourself. Because I don't particularly think the ring card is the easiest one, unfortunately. I think it's a little bit of work. I think you might go through a little bit of a death and rebirth, which is when you feel sad. Florin, threshold could be a group card, because I'm on threshold myself, so that would make a bit of sense. So that ring card, Kirsten, is that you go through a bit of a death and rebirth. It's you might go for, like, you've got to mourn something, like you're old, you goodbye this pattern, goodbye this thought form, this self-belief, those kinds of things, and instead you're bringing in a new aspect of yourself. So I feel like you're reading the spiritual based as well. So threshold, sudden change, that to dive off. Nectar, really nurture yourself. Write down 3 things that bring you soul joy, and then remember to do them when things get a little bit chaotic or sudden change and your mind's going in 100 ways. And the ring is asking for you to break pattern, and it's time. I really feel like you'll get that closure, and that you'll be able to move through it. So I'll have to get off here, because the beautiful Juliana is on next. I highly suggest you stay for hers as well. She starts at 8:30, I believe. It's been so wonderful being with you all. I feel a little bit more comfortable than last week. Last week I felt I was a little bit in teacher archetype, which is great, but I feel like I've been able to connect with you all a little bit more. Doing plan, thank you. I love it. I love the ring as it looks as repeating patterns and shift. I reckon that that's what the ring is asking you to do. So breaking a pattern, But the ring can also mean commitment, the commitment, literally like putting it on the ring finger, or they might be asking you to commit to breaking a pattern or thought forms or something that comes up. I feel like you're quite spiritual, so just ask the universe and um, and ask for some signs, and you'll kind of just know. Same time, don't forget that nurturing card. It's really important. So, love to you all. Thank you for all of your time and sharing your Friday night with me. And I will see you again next week.